And the goal is to buy that particular company at a discount, and it needs to be a top 40 company. So when I say top 40, it needs to be like one of the largest companies in the world. And if you buy one of these humongous companies on a reoccurring basis, often, right, the history shows that the likelihood that you will end up making money on that particular position is astronomical.
All right, everyone's sitting down today with Jerremy Newsome. We spoke a while back, got him on a podcast a few years back for sure, about trading, a lot of lifestyle. People love you because you talk about wealth and abundance mindset a lot, kind of changing people's perspective on things, which is definitely a lot of cool stuff. So welcome back on the podcast, and I think we have a lot to catch up on. So let's start.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be back, dude. Am I your most visited guest?
You might as well be. I'm not sure. I didn't count how many episodes we have, but you could be. It's possible. You're definitely one of them.
Yeah. Dude, we've been doing this for like 9 years, man. 8 years. It's been awesome. It's been really cool.
And last time we spoke, I believe you were in your RG somewhere traveling with your family, which is kind of cool. So tell me a bit more about what's been going on since we last spoke. It's been a while.
Whoa, yeah, so much, man. So I've moved entirely across the country. So when we met last on the podcast, I was in my RV with my family. I was in like an RV trip, and I was also training for a really, really difficult endurance race that I finished, by the way, for all your listeners out there, finished it like 3 or 4 days after our interview. And man, the big thing, this will sound crazy to maybe a lot of listeners. I didn't know this, but I grew up in the South of the United States my whole life. And I'd been to California, but I hadn't really like been to California. So the portion that after I left that race, I spent a little bit more time in California, realized that California was beautiful, that it had mountains, it had beaches, it had incredible valleys, incredible sceneries, meadows everywhere. The people were really nice. So we sold all of our property in Nashville, Tennessee, and me and my whole family moved all the way across here to Orange County, California. So that's where we're at right now. So for the first time in my life, I live, 0.6 miles from the beach. So we go to the beach pretty much every day. The water's nice and cold here. It's like 59 degrees. It's quite chilly. And the waves are huge, and the beach is nice, and the people are beautiful, and the weather's incredible. And just spending a lot of time with the family, man. That's currently the thing. I had a new baby boy. He's 10 months old. His name is Jerremy. And we had him June 5th of this year. So yeah, he's coming up on 12, and Jason's going to be 4 in September, and Gabe just turned 15. So got 3 boys, doing my best to pour into them, spend a lot of time with them, still do a lot of trading. And for a lot of my listeners out there, I did sell real life trading to my internal team and to Tony Pollock, who is just a remarkable person, an incredible friend, a great trader. And it was just an honor and blessing to not only do that, but just to be a part of that project and be a part of that mission for 10 years. So I started real life trading November 5th, 2014, and transferred ownership over to Tony and the squad November 5th, 2024. So 10 years to the day. So it just felt like it's a really, really beautiful moment. But I think ultimately, man, it was because I wanted to just explore new things, right? And I think that this is a beautiful world. I think a lot of people want to explore, and they want to grow. A lot of people like you, man. That's why a lot of people love to look up to you, is because you just travel the world wherever you want to go. You're in Bali right now, which is awesome. So wherever you want to go, you and your girl, you guys kind of go. And trading does and can provide that lifestyle. I think people just need to step into it more.
Yeah, definitely. We had Tony in the podcast a few weeks back, so we'll leave the episode that we had with him link in the corner somewhere over here so people can check it out. Definitely a cool guy for sure. Tell me a bit more about what is the role of trading for you at this point? Because you still, even though you sold your business, you still trade every day. So tell me a bit more about kind of how that plays out for your overall, I guess, financial status.
Yeah, every day when the setup is there. So I do swing trade. I do longer term invest still. I think trading will always be a part of my life. And what's beautiful about it is and this will sound crazy, man, but trading is just kind of boring to me now. I have figured it out. I figured out trading. And when I say I figured it out, I mean, I finally figured out what works for me and what I need to do and what I need to not to do. And I've done that for a very long time. I trade mostly Tesla. I mean, it's like 89% of what I do every single day. And I wait for certain setups. And if they're there, I'll play them. And if they're not, I don't. I accumulate a large position of it. And now I just mostly sell covered calls, buy protective puts. So I'm in collars pretty often, which is still my favorite strategy. We kind of talked a little bit about that in the last episode too. But still kind of my favorite strategy. And I day trade Tesla. And man, my version of the world, it all boils down to like points, kind of like we talked about also in the last interview. I mean, it's if I think to myself, okay, I need $45,000 this month for my expenses, then that to me is 45 points that I need to capture that month on 1,000 shares. And that 1,000 shares can be on any stock, right, in the entire world. It's nice that Tesla moves like $12 a day, you know, so I don't need to capture that much. 45 points in the month on that 1,000 shares. I think it's extremely, extremely doable. You just have to watch it and kind of plan for it and just kind of know you're going to lose some, you're going to win some, but as long as you win more than you lose, you're going to be net profitable. And I also started thinking not that long ago that I wanted to accumulate as many shares in my life versus dollars, right? Shares are exponential and dollars are linear. And what that means to me is like a stock like NVIDIA. I mean, it split not that long ago. And I had some shares of NVIDIA at that time. And so that split, that 1-for-10 split, after it split, you know, eventually it pulled back and then the stock kept going higher. So that split, you get more shares essentially for free, right? It just boom, overnight. Now you have more shares at a less cost, and then that cost increase again. So my version is like always just create as many shares as possible, own as many shares as possible, still create value for the world, still pour into people, still be the best version of yourself, and create a lot of value for the marketplace. Own a bunch of shares, trade a bunch, and just do the math. Like, what are the expenses that you need? Okay, cool. Reverse engineer it, figure out how to capture that type of movement in the market and spend the time capturing that amount of movement in the market.
Having a goal of this sort of like a point goal in the market, is it a good thing for most people, or is it something that's going to be just putting more pressure for people to perform and to take trades when they don't necessarily see setups?
Both. Yeah, both. I mean, really the question within that question is it okay to fail? That's really the question within that question, right? Because everyone, like, if you're listening to this, you probably have bills and they come every month. So you perform however you want to perform, right? Do however you want to do it. But like those bills keep coming. At least they do for me. And so I think ultimately it's okay to have some type of pressure on yourself, some type of pressure to perform. And sometimes you lose. That's what's awesome about sports. Sometimes you play a game and sometimes you're not the best person. You're not the best athlete. You're not the best team. Sometimes you lose. And there are months where I have losing months, but there's also months where I don't hit my points. I don't hit the type of income that I want to hit. But I also got to consider that it does have there's an average, right? A great example, a fun story. So I'm working with a gentleman named Eric, and Eric's a higher net worth individual. He focuses almost most of his money on real estate for a large period of time. And now he only focuses on trading because he just realizes the trading is so much better in every way imaginable. And then what he ends up doing is in January, right? I think his goal was to make $30,000 a month trading. That was kind of like his retirement number. And again, Eric's a little bit older than most of your listeners, but you know, married, kids, the whole thing, right? House, all the stuff. So wants to make $30,000, which is plenty to cover the expenses and a lot left over. So in January, I think he did like 60K. Now in March, like this recent March, he only made 2. He was kind of stressed out about it. I was like, yeah, man, but here's the thing. I mean, I forget what he made in February. It was like, if you average those 2 months together, you get your 30. I was like, that's kind of trading. It's like, yeah, some months you need to have, I always think you need to have some measure of where you're going. It doesn't have to be this extremely strict, like you get critical and you get mean to yourself. But everyone who's listening, you probably have a job. like you, my brother, like you have certain standards for this podcast. You have certain things that you need to do. You have certain interactions that you want, audio, posting, timeliness, all those things, scheduling. You have certain standards. And so in order to operate a business, we have to have a level of standards and then figure out what they are and figure out if we need to increase them or decrease them and operate within them. And for a lot of traders, I think most traders treat trading like a hobby and they don't really treat it like a job. And so they don't create these really rigid like deadlines for themselves or these, to your point, like guardrails where they go, all right, I need to operate within these positions. And if I don't, right, if I do not hit those metrics, I need to do something because there's no boss to fire you. And if you work in a job, there's probably someone there to hold you accountable. But man, I think it's good. I think it's good to put some pressure on yourself. Like that's what creates diamonds, right? You got to put pressure on yourself every now and then. And I think that ultimately, if you're going to be trading for a full-time career, it's okay to have a little bit of pressure.
Why do you think trading is better than real estate for, I guess, building wealth in the long term? Some people might see trading as like somewhat risky. It's like, oh, you buy and sell stuff, you can lose more money. Real estate is like an asset. It might not lose value really quick. Tell me why it's better to trade than to invest in real estate.
So many answers, dude. I'll go down the list. Now, I will say you did mention long-term wealth. I think real estate is remarkable and should absolutely be part of your portfolio. I definitely have real estate. I love real estate. I appreciate it. It's incredible. There's so many leverage tools with it. But from a accessibility standpoint, the stock market wins, right? Like if you're in Bali, I'm in California, bro. We are literally, I think, like 16 hours apart. So if I had a property or you have a property in California, like how do you see it, touch it? Like you have to use some type of internet connection, WhatsApp. Like you can't interact with the piece of property that you own from Bali or vice versa. If I buy a house in Bali and I'm in California, right? I mean, that's so accessibility. If you are good at trading, you have to have an internet connection. That's it. Number two, liquidity. Like a lot of people feel like if you had a large sum of money in the market, that's extremely, extremely risky. It's like, dude, if you had $50 million in the markets and you wanted to sell a position, boop, you're out. It doesn't matter what the position is. Like you're instantly out of that position. And that to me is awesome. Now there's negatives to it because like you mentioned, that word emotion, people get very emotional. And in real estate, it is harder. It is more of a challenge to interact with something when you're having a bad day. So if you feel off and you feel upset and you feel worried, you can't just go and sell your house. You can call your real estate agent and tell them that you want to sell it, but there's a lot of barriers to emotional control. And I think that's why people gravitate towards real estate is because most individuals aren't truly in control of their emotions. And so they always let their emotions kind of get the best of them. So I think ultimately from a stock market perspective, speed, access, liquidity, ease, volatility, opportunity. Man, if you are black, white, Asian, persuasion, if you're blue, yellow, green, if you got a felony, you can interact with the stock market. Hey, if you got bad credit, you can interact with the stock market. If you got a job, if you got no job, if you got a little bit of a job, if you got debt, if you got no debt, the stock market will take your money or it will increase it. And as long as you know the trend and you operate within the trend and you spend the majority of your time understanding what is the trend, you can make a lot more money in the markets. And it's the biggest game. In fact, one of my favorite quotes, right? 90% of millionaires are made from real estate. 100% of billionaires are made from equities. So if you're playing the larger game or you are interested or fascinated by the larger game, you do have to get into equities. And it's just a much bigger pool of abundance. And last but not least, man, everything you can do in real estate, you can do in trading, right? Everything. you can rent out your stock just like you rent out a house. You can buy insurance on your stock just like you can buy insurance on a house. There's so many great advantages. And the one, I mean, as a wealth coach, I probably have to say this, but the one big distinction is taxes. And real estate is awesome for taxes. Currently, if you live here in the United States of America, there's a lot of shifts and tweaks and things that can always move and adjust. But ultimately, tax shelters and tax advantages, real estate is really, really awesome. And yeah, man, if you use it wrong, if you use anything wrong, you can lose a bunch of money. But that's why you need to understand the risk. That's why you need to understand the downside. That's why you need to understand how to protect yourself. And right now, there's a lot of people that are pretty stressed out about the U.S. stock market because it's been sliding essentially every other day or every day since January. And people are kind of flipping out a little bit. And rightfully so, because it's scary. But ultimately, in real estate, if the real estate market's going down, right, real prices of real assets in whatever country, if those prices are going lower, there's no real way to make money on that price movement, right? In real estate, you can only just buy lower. I would consider myself to be a real estate specialist and most likely an expert in 99% of real estate transactions. You can't make money in that price fluctuation as it's going down. And I think that is a big opportunity, right, in stocks versus real estate. So, man, it's a very, very, very long list. But I still love real estate, man. You still got to have part of it. You still need to do it. There's tons and tons and tons of advantages.
How would you recommend someone that wants to get wealthy from trading, from the stock market or from any other market? They want to kind of be trading, and that's how they want to get wealthy. What should you do? Is it just a matter of like finding a strategy, focusing on it and doing it and repeating it? Or are there some other things you have to think about and kind of focus on?
Good question. So how would someone, like, what's my big tips for people getting wealthy in real estate? Or sorry, in stock market? I mean, ultimately, if that person has a job, most people probably will, right? You attract a lot of affluent, hardworking individuals with your YouTube channel and your amazing podcast. So I would tell people, if you have a job, if you have a stream of income, keep it for now. Figure out a way to increase your value in that workplace. So become more efficient, figure out a way to increase revenue or decrease expenses, right? Be a big value to your business and increase how much you get paid there, if at all possible. In 98% of jobs, you can get increases. You can work overtime. You can make more money, bonuses, whatever. There's tons of ways to do it. So make more money and then just buy shares of a company, one company that you really like, that you totally understand, that you use every single day, knowing that it's going to go up and it's going to go down as you buy it. And the goal is to buy that particular company at a discount, and it needs to be a top 40 company. So when I say top 40, it needs to be like one of the largest companies in the world. And if you buy one of these humongous companies on a reoccurring basis, often, right, the history shows that the likelihood that you will end up making money on that particular position is astronomical. And so when I say making money, meaning more money than you invested. And then as you're buying that position and you're studying as you currently have a job, go learn about active trading. Go learn about the markets, because active trading, everyone should try it, but not everyone's going to win at it. That's the truth. The truth is everyone should know how it works. Everyone should interact with it. Everyone should study the liquid markets, because the stock market is the greatest revealer of what you need healed internally. It will show you your demons. It will show you your money glitches and the fears that you have about money and about investing and about wealth and about opportunity. It'll show that to you. And if you want to work on that, if you want to tweak that, if you want to adjust that, you should. But it'll tell you. And if you're going to become a better person, you need to start working on those fears. You need to start working on those disbeliefs and those limiting beliefs that you have internally about access and about growth and about capital and all the fun things. But ultimately, man, that's a big way, is learn how to actively trade, spend some time in it, find out what you need healed and see if you want to heal it. And if you don't, that's okay. Just go back to that long-term investing, keep buying that company over a large period of time, and the money very, very, very likely will grow substantially over time. You just got to keep doing it, right? Most people, as you know, my brother, they're not extremely consistent, unfortunately. In fact, that's probably the question I get the most from people still who listen to your podcast. They'll email me and they'll ask me, like, dude, how do I get discipline? How do I have consistency? How can I do the mental fortitude to do the exact same thing all the time, every single day, or however often you need to do it? And I don't really know the answer other than doing it, but I can give you a cool answer. And that cool answer is find something that you haven't done before that's a challenge, train for it, and then go do it. And hopefully you fail, right? Hopefully it doesn't work out for you. And that's either going to motivate you or it's going to show you that you tried something too big and it might take you a lot longer than you originally anticipated, but you should at least try something like running a marathon. Less than 1% of the population will run a marathon. It's like, go train to run a marathon and see if it doesn't change your life. And if and as you start doing something like that, my man, you start noticing these little aspects of the consistency that starts to kind of appear, where if you want to do something, your brain will go, yeah, I didn't really do that great. Or yeah, I didn't really do that as well as I should have. And it starts to become aware of all these little kinks and chinks in your armor. I think ultimately having the awareness of your challenges and struggles is probably one of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself by doing something big and doing something scary and hairy and audacious, like, to your point, trying to build large wealth in stocks.
It's good that you mentioned discipline. How much discipline do you feel you need to be wealthy?
How much? I mean, it's hard to quantify, but I would say, yeah, I mean, on a level of 1 to 10, if 1 is no discipline whatsoever and 10 is extreme, like Navy SEAL military precision, a 3. Dude, you don't need that much. The truth is, brother, most people simply have 0, right? Most people are on the 1 scale. You don't need that much discipline. You need to do like wealth, extreme wealth, my man. And I'm at a place in my life, and it's so amazing to sit back and just see it sometimes, because looking back in my life 5 years ago, I was in an entirely different world, an entirely different universe in every aspect of the word. And then if I go back 20 years ago, so now I'm 16, I mean, I am an astronomically different universe in every area imaginable. And if we're talking about wealth, that's definitely one of them. Like, I'm one of the wealthiest people I know. And I'm talking about in all aspects. Money's definitely on that wheel, but I got it all figured out. I know that sounds insane to say, but that's just the truth, right? I got the relationship. I got the woman of my dreams. I have amazing kids. We don't fight. We're happy every day. My health is insane. Like, it's so good. And so you start going through all of these aspects of like emotions and spirituality. And to your point, discipline, wealth. You ready for a quote, my man? Wealth is 2nd grade math repeated consistently. Financial freedom is a formula. It's not a mythical beast. It is something that every single person listening to this can have and can achieve. Most individuals simply do not have enough discipline and consistency to simply follow that formula over a long enough period of time. And I think that long period of time is probably 5 years. I think that's the amount of time. I think in 5 years, anyone can go from wherever they're at to wherever they want to be. But you're going to have to do something every day and every week for 5 years. And if you can do that, you'll become wealthy. You'll become financially free.
If you had to take someone, I'm sure you talk with people who are both extremely wealthy and some people are maybe not on the other side, like not wealthy or in a bad state. What's the difference between how they think, these two kind of people? Is it like something you can spot easily? They think differently, or is it like a small things that kind of make it the big difference?
Small things make a huge difference, man. Yeah. So in life, you're either a victim or you're a victor. So if you are in a spot where you're listening and you say like, yeah, Jerremy, like it's so easy for you. You have a life of privilege. The president, my boss, my wife, my husband, my kids, the market, my past experiences. A lot of people turn a life lesson into a life sentence, and they stay in that belief forever. They're like, no, this is just the way I am, right? I'm an alcoholic, or I was born with one leg, or I have diabetes. And they pick this thing and they stick to it and go, this is it. This is my life. And they have an identity, and they never change that identity. They never question that identity. They never push the boundaries of that identity. And ultimately, your identity is going to shape your beliefs, and your beliefs are going to shape your reality. And I think changing those beliefs and updating them and tweaking them is insane. And it's extremely important. It's radically important. I'm sure you've heard and you've watched a bunch of Alex Hormozi. And I love the dude. One of the really, really cool things about Alex is that a lot of people don't know this, but he graduated magna cum laude from Vanderbilt. The guy is really smart. He's extremely smart. But that was an identity that he needed to have. And so he created this identity in high school and in college and did the work required to graduate top of his class in one of the most prestigious colleges in the country. So he had to create an identity, and he had to live at the standards that those identities operated within. And so a lot of individuals, they create these identities, they create these beliefs, and they operate in those standards. I can only make $30,000 a year. That's the most amount of money that I can possibly make. I'm overweight. I'm big boned. I was born with these genetics. I can't change my genetics. Of course you can. Of course you can change your genetics. You can change anything you want. It starts here. It starts in the mind. It starts in the awareness. Anything can be shifted. If your mind can perceive it, the realities can receive it. And I truly, truly believe that, man. I think I'm a byproduct of that, right? I bought into the American dream. And the American dream is becoming wealthy and doing it from any circumstance, right? From any circumstance imaginable, every single person can have it. That's why so many people make it in this incredible country. And if we're really, really thinking about it, a lot of the challenges that people have were given to them, right? They were given to them as challenges because if someone asks to become stronger, they're not given more strength. They're given heavier loads to carry, because a heavier load will make you stronger. And it really is the identity that people create. They will say, I am this way, and they will operate within all of the parameters of that identity and that belief. If you continue to do that, you'll never get the life that you've always dreamed about. You'll continue to get the life that you have now. Every single person listening, the wealth that you have in your life presently is the amount of wealth you feel you deserve. And that word feel and that word deserve can be very unnerving for people, because they'll sit down and they'll realize pretty quickly that that's almost an unarguable statement.
It's powerful stuff.
What do you think? Do you think people can change their identities?
I think so, for sure. I think that a lot of people, like you mentioned, is like they feel like stuff happens to them. They feel like if it happens, then they kind of are left behind, like they're like falling behind, and they don't feel like that they can go through things that easily sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a really, really unique and extremely challenging shift to make. I will warn everyone who's listening. This is happening to me, that victim state. I'm not saying it's incorrect. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that it will keep you limited. But if you start slowly shifting it, that everything that happens instead of to you happens for you, then now everything is a gift. Every opportunity is a privilege to grow. Every challenge, I've been punched in the metaphorical face by life, by trading, by the markets, by business partners, by people screwing me over, by the haters. Like I've had so much adversity. And if I sit there in that adversity and feel it long enough, then I'm very rarely going to be happy. But if every single time something happens, I go, oh man, this is so cool. What a gift. What can I learn from this? It's a little bit of a different shift. And then I don't know how spiritual you want to get in this episode, but I'll tell you this. There is to me, right? Everything happening to me. And then there's for me. Everything is happening for me as a gift. And that's where I'm at in my life right now. And then you have everything is happening through me. So that's a whole different paradigm, because now you are the hands and feet of God. You are acting on this earth as a conduit and a channel. And you are simply acting in faith and acting in courage. And so when you hear, see, feel, and know that you need to go do something, you don't question it, you go do it. And that's an entirely different operating system. And I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. My wife is. My wife is there. She's remarkable. But it's it's a really, really fascinating way to live.
Definitely words of wisdom. So I think we should leave it as that. People are going to be definitely happy there for sure. So tell me what people can find you or connect with you after this podcast. Do you want to learn more or kind of just see what you're doing and what you're up to?
Yeah, man. I mean, the absolute easiest way is just kind of reach out to me on whatever social media platform, whatever you guys watch or listen to. I'm on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all the things. Just feel free to reach out to me. Just as long as you spell my name correctly, you'll find me. It's Jerremy with 2 R's. My dad's name was Jerry. So it's Jerremy Newsome, Newsome. Just reach out, message me on whatever social media platform you prefer. Happy to have conversations, happy to pour into you, happy to give you guidance, instruction, information, thoughts, perspectives, ideas. Again, I do still trade. It's a really, really awesome way to create income, but there are I'll end with this. As easy and boring as the markets are, there's a lot easier and boring ways to make money. A lot easier. The markets are one way out of hundreds of thousands of ways to create unbelievable income. And it's really, really cool. But there's a lot of other easier ways too.
And you do a lot of good content for sure. So people can definitely get a lot of value from that. We'll put the link below in the description, the show notes. People can reach out to you there. And hopefully we can bring you back on the podcast pretty soon.